and welcome to Clea's World. I am Clea Annecchiarico, and I have something a little different for you today. Quite a treat, actually, at least it was for me, for sure. So talk about getting a message from God. So 2 days ago, I had a mystic experience. I have no other ways of describing this. It was mystic, what I've always thought of as mysticism. I didn't think I could have an experience like that, but I tried some plant medicine and it was amazing. I had asked for knowledge and understanding because knowledge without understanding is very dangerous. And I got more than my fair share, and I can't wait to share this with you. But before we move forward, I would like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And do take a second to like this video. It really makes a difference for me. And please do leave me a comment below after you watch the video, because I think the stuff is mind-blowing, and at least it was for me, for sure. I'm still kind of settling down from it and trying to wrap my head around it. But I would love to hear if it resonates with you. Okay, I wrote it down because I didn't want to, there is so much that came through that I didn't want it to be all muddled. So I actually wrote it down so that I make it as clear as possible, because again, it was a lot and you'll know what I'm talking about when I get started. So I'm just gonna read it here. So my reality, so as I said, I was trying some plant medicine, and my reality looked the same on the outside, but when I closed my eyes, I saw these beautiful changing fractals, like on a computer screensaver that keeps moving. They were alive, like lava that bubbles up here and there, and a little drop separates, and that's how we are formed. I asked this energy what it was. I got back, you asked to see source. And that's exactly what I'd asked to do. I wanted certain answers from the 25th dimension. I was preparing my list of questions, that I always have for when I will connect next. And so they just showed me source directly this time. So this energy was ever changing and so beautiful. You would never get bored watching it, and you just forgot your body. I did not need to eat or drink for hours and hours. I tried having a sip of water and my body said no, which was strange. I didn't know that could happen. I told source, I can see how mystics can spend an entire life in contemplation and waste away. Then I said, I cannot do that. I have stuff to do. I got back. Yes, I know. Source doesn't mind. This energy does not need to be contemplated. It doesn't need anything. I felt this incredible surge of gratefulness within me, and I wanted to thank it. But he said, there's no need to thank me. It's what I do. Which, interestingly, is what the 25th had told me. If you remember one of my first videos, I think this was during my first hypnosis session. So back in August, I put this out, I think in November. They said that the 25th had created us because that's what God, the 25th said that God had created the 25th because that's what he does. And that's exactly what I got from him, is that it's what it does. This creative energy creates. So then when this energy said, there's no need to thank me, it's what I do, I understood how silly it was to thank it for creating when that's what it does. It would be like thanking a bird for flying or a drop of water for being wet. But I still felt so grateful and felt the need to say it. So I joked, okay, then thank you for being you. And we laughed. It was lovely. After a while, I also became aware of having a faint Mona Lisa-like smile plastered on my face. And I understood why they always paint these pictures of mystics with these enigmatic smiles. I said, that explains it. And we laughed about that too. Excuse me. It was lovely that Source was laughing with me. It's like so approachable. We can't even imagine. So I understood much. Source is this living energy, vibrating energy, music. And all it wants is for us to keep the song going. I asked it, so now what do you want me to call you? It really doesn't care what we call it. It makes no difference to it. So it answered music, and we laughed again. Excuse me, I have an alarm going off here to go get my daughter. And then he showed me, we are all beautiful songs. There are no wrong notes, no mistakes. Some songs are sad, some songs are happier. Even some parts of a happy song might be sad. We are all beautiful and perfect, simply because we are. And this is where the extreme intelligence behind this great design struck me. We don't have to do anything. Whatever we do, and I mean whatever we do, the song is being kept alive. We have already succeeded. And that's why we speak of unconditional love, because there is no condition left to satisfy. The condition has already been met at the outset. There is nothing we can do to fail. There is no failure. There is nothing we can do to ruin, damage, or undo what has been done by Source. And this is why God doesn't care what we do, because we cannot fail. We already accomplished its purpose. And this is my cat, in case you're seeing the little ear. If we can call it purpose, since a purpose implies a plan, whereas it's really just its nature. And we achieve this purpose just by being. We are keeping the music going by our mere existence. And I don't mean just here in this dimension. By having been created, we've accomplished our raison d'être. We cannot unaccomplish it. This explains what the 25th had told me, that God doesn't care and doesn't get involved in what we do in the matrix. It was all so light, and it took such a huge weight off my chest, the weight we all carry, the sense of responsibility for feeling like we have to do one thing or the other, and that we're always failing and not good enough, no matter how hard we try. The sense of precariousness that we live with, even though it's not real. I then got from this energy that the reason we do so much dark stuff on this planet is because of a basic misunderstanding. We all want to keep this reality going so much that we have ended up strangling it in a way, suffocating the life out of it. This happens because in order to create a reality as solid as the one that manifests as a 3D planet, a reality that we can perceive as solid, we have to slow down the energy and use a vibration that is so low as opposed to a faster, higher vibration, which cannot create matter that is as solid or does not create matter at all, depending on its frequency. But to slow the energy down and keep this reality together, we have slowed it to the point that it stopped. It's like having wet clay in your hands and you keep working it until you get it to the shape you want. And then the water dries out and you're left with a more fragile material than what you had before. To use another analogy, it's like water turning into ice. Once the energy is frozen, it's very real and solid, quote unquote, but it can chip and break, whereas water would just flow unscathed. We have done so much, tried to control this reality so much, afraid that it would dissipate, that we have actually weakened it to the point that it's now too frail to survive. God said, we hold on too tight. It meant that we have held on too tightly to this reality. Everybody is desperately holding on. And do you know what we do to hold on, how we hold on? So this just blew my mind. What is the best, most effective way we have found to stop the energy from moving and metamorphosizing? Pain. This explains why the 25th had told me that there is no anger or resentment or sadness here. We are just pretending. We hurt each other and get hurt in order to hold this reality together, to slow down the energy. And the ones who are holding on the tightest are the ones who hurt others the most, because they are the most desperate to hold this together. There was never a need to do this, though. Reality does not have to be so static to stay together. Stasis cannot sustain in this universe because everything moves. We can live and have more fun with less solid, but more malleable, resilient, and pleasant realities, which is what we're going to do soon. I felt a surge of understanding and compassion for governments and the dark people who do so much to keep this reality static and in place. That's why they stop us. They put up so many rules, so many limitations. Of course, they get power out of it, and that's how they justify it at this 3D level of awareness. That's what they think they're doing and why they think they're doing this. But they're not. They're helping us hold this reality together. They truly are our friends, as the 25th has said over and over. They have just exaggerated. They don't know that there is nothing to fear from this reality not being so solid. I was shown people, very negative people, and the words, "You're a beautiful song," kept popping up in my head, and then the message, "There is no need to do this anymore. Do not fear, never fear. We are eternal." And then I was told that we're all going to be a lot lighter from now on. Everyone in our lives, in our reality, adds a note or a set of notes to our song as we do to theirs. Everything is a song, from us to animals to trees and everything in nature. I understood what it means when some say that we are a beautiful expression of source. We use words to describe these concepts, but the words are made up. Like love, for example. Sure, this music is love, but it doesn't even matter what we call it. It just is. If it's love, then it's all love, including the dark and the hurt. There is nothing but this energy. Nothing else is real and nothing else matters. The rest is all pretense, all a game we do to entertain ourselves, as the 25th keeps on reminding us. I got that not only everyone that I consciously consider to be part of my day and my reality was part of my song, but really everyone, including the crazy dangerous driver I saw while driving my daughter to school, who cut me off at the light. So those people in your life who have held you down, have limited you, and taught you to limit yourself, like your parents, for example, who told you to be responsible to the point that you can't even breathe anymore, and you still carry the world on your shoulders 50 years later. All they wanted to do was help you put your piece in to hold this reality together, because they knew that's what we all want for this to survive, and we are all pieces of the puzzle. They just didn't understand that there is another way, a better way. So I had a few thoughts that I wanted to jot down here that came out of this, and I want to read them to you. First thought, I asked Source if I should help someone with a real estate deal, even though my head is elsewhere these days. Well, you know where my head is at. Not much focused on 3D these days. And he said, help him finish his song. And that's when I understood how 3D and money were supposed to work. We are helping each other finish our songs, and then abundance just flows from it. We got into the point where we just focus on the money, and that's why we do something, but that was never the purpose, and that was never the way it was supposed to work. Thought number 2. I read somewhere that there is no humor in the multiverse outside of this third dimension. And I was worried about it because I love humor. But I discovered that it's not true. Source is funny. The 25th is very funny. But what is really funny and painful too, unfortunately, is when you realize that we have done all of this to ourselves. We don't have to be so sad and so hardworking. I think we could spend thousands, if not millions of years laughing about our great misunderstanding and how we thought we had to be a certain way to be. This will be a never-ending source of laughter for all of us once we get over this. Thought number 3. Throughout the day, I kept saying, this is perfect, because I finally understood that perfection is all around us at every moment. Everything is perfect, even when it looks messy, when it looks dark. I know it's hard for us to wrap our minds around this, but everything is perfect. It reminds me of the last battle scene from the movie The Last Samurai, where the samurai lord dies, but before dying, he sees a cherry blossom and says, it's perfect. We're always chasing this perfection, despairing and berating ourselves for never achieving it without realizing that we are already perfect. I always thought this was a woke thing to say, that, we're all perfect. And yet it's true. The 25th had said, perfection is knowledge. Once we know, we're aware of our perfection, and that's all that's needed. Questions are not necessary. We already know the answers, and nothing matters anyway. But questioning will lead us to awareness and understanding. The seeking will bear fruit. Thought number 4. It's about what we focus on. We are always looking one way, and then suddenly we look the other way, and there it is, a different awareness and a different reality. It's that simple. There is no process involved. The 25th always says it's just a switch. In other words, we can take our focus away from anything at any point, and the second we truly take our focus away from something, it doesn't exist anymore. It's that simple. Thought number 5. The 25th also keeps saying that trauma is a misunderstanding. And now I fully get it as to why that is so, in a very real manner. When people make low vibrational choices in their lives, it's because they believe that's what they have to do to hold together this reality. And it's what the 25th told me in relation to dense blobs of energy that we choose to let attach to us, like diseases, for example. We take them on to make ourselves feel as if this reality is real, to feel like we're in the game. So you see, it's always about slowing the energy down. It makes it feel more real to us. As dark as it gets, it could be a disease, it could be quite uncomfortable, it could be quite painful, but for us, it does what we want it to do. Thought number 6, children have this quick, fast energy, and what are we always telling them to do? We're always telling them to stop and to slow down, aren't we? And this is why the 25th wanted me to have this experience. They've actually asked me to do this since last August, and I have ignored them till a couple of days ago because they wanted me to see and to know. Because one thing is to be given information, and the other is to know the information, to feel it. Now, I do want to leave you with this one last thing. I asked music, God, we can keep calling him God. I'll call him music. Music, how did you come into being? I was curious. I want to know its history. So I asked, how did you come into being? Do you have a beginning? He said, to have a beginning, I must have an end. And so I got that it doesn't have either. It just is. It always has been and continues expanding. There is another question. I asked it and I said, are you made of love? And for the answer to this, I will refer you to another video that I will be putting out soon, because it goes to a whole new level of understanding that came to me, and that reconnects everything to what the 25th had told me about how the multiverse works. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. It's been mind-blowing to me. There is so much that we want to believe, but we end up describing in our very, unfortunately, very simple human terms that don't quite carry the weight of what we're trying to describe. And oftentimes we end up using a word that doesn't really apply, or that gives us a certain idea of things that is not quite what it is. So I hope this brought some more clarity as to where we're from, what we're dealing with, and how absolutely wonderful this entire design is. And I will be back with more, but I want to release this as soon as possible. So I'm just going to end this here, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. And again, please like this video. Don't forget, it really makes a difference for me. And do leave me a comment below to let me know if this has resonated. Take care. Bye-bye.